This is personal. I've invested a lot in Jewish education. Hundreds of meetings and conferences, thousands of hours, millions of dollars. And I'm asked often enough, what ROI do you expect on that investment? Can you really expect to change anything? I don't know the answer, but I decided I would rather die trying than accept the status quo. Why, people ask me. We all get that education's important, but maybe tone it down a notch? Make it a project, a priority even, but why is this all so personal for you? Let me tell you why this is personal for me. First, this is personal because a Jewish legacy of education, a legacy that I am part of, a legacy that is millennia in the making, is at stake. We used to be on the cutting edge in this department. We didn't become known as people of the book for nothing. But somehow, over the years, that edge was dulled. We started cutting corners, not edges. We used to be trendsetters in education. We were creators and pioneers, experimenters and revolutionaries. We're the people of Avram and Sarah who brought ethical monotheism to the world, of Shimon ben Shetach, who democratized education for all, regardless of socioeconomic status. Innovation is in our blood. Salk, Einstein, and Steinem, 210 Nobel Prize winners, titans of industry, vanquishers of the impossible. But when it comes to education, the very thing that has made us distinct from other nations, our calling card in the world, how did we become copycats? Yep. For 70, 80 years now, we've copied an educational model not our own. We've gotten away from our unique value proposition, and it's time to get back to it. Generations of exile have left us with sand in our eyes. We've got to see ourselves clearly again and aspire to our rightful place as leaders in the field. Second, this is personal because the challenges that matter to me most always feel personal. I've heard 1,000,001 reasons why this can't be done. Classroom management requires carrots and sticks, they say. Grades are the only way, they say. Jewish education will always be the ugly stepchild to general studies, they say. That's just the way it is. But this work, it's too crucial and too urgent to succumb to the way it is. I know that as a parent, watching my own kids go through the school system, that wasn't enough for me. That wasn't the ROI I was looking for. And that felt very personal. We can't afford to have young people see themselves as C+ Jews because of a C+ grade. We can't afford to have them see their Jewish learning as a requirement to strike off a list instead of the very building blocks of a life meaningfully lived. And so, we've got to dig deep and find that stubbornness that Jews are known for. We've got to challenge every assumption of what is possible. We don't have to do anything just because that's how it's done. We need to reinvent how it's done, to create a coming generation of Jews with strong Jewish identity and commitment. And third, and perhaps most importantly of all, this is personal because I've seen what's possible when we make learning personal, when we make it meaningful. When students develop a deep and ongoing connection with God and the Jewish people, when they form a relationship with the text, when they don't just interpret a verse, but understand how the verse can help them interpret themselves and their world differently, when we value the soul of the child as much as the intellect, when the content and skills we provide are more than ends, but are a means to a life more meaningfully lived. These moments, they're what it's all about. That's how we tap into what has sustained the Jewish people for thousands of years and through every adversity. That's what leads to a lifetime of purpose, commitment, and connection to God and, frankly, each other. They're how we realize our purpose as a light unto the nations. I've been told that ani chaya b'seret, that I'm living in a movie, that we're setting our sights too high, biting off more than we can chew. I've seen so much progress over the years, and I believe we can get there. We can get there because we must get there. We don't have the luxury of not trying, and frankly, we don't have the luxury of not succeeding. The future of our world and our people depend on us fulfilling that sacred responsibility. And the first step in realizing that dream is for all of us, the funders, the educators, the teachers, the parents, to realize what's at stake and decide to make it personal.
This is extremely personal for me. I've seen it in my own life. If you don't educate Jewish children in Jewish knowledge, the chance that they will stay Jewish over a period of time, over generations, is very slim.
This is personal for me because there's a generation of kids, my kids' cohort, and this is our opportunity to engage with them, to interact with them, to give them the skills they need, to inspire them to want to live a meaningful Jewish life.
Well, it's personal because I think that the future of the Jewish people depends on it.
This is so personal for me. I sent my children to Jewish day school, and I think learning about what your role is in the world as a Jew is the strongest. You learn that strongest in Jewish day school. And we are going to need every child to understand their role when they grow up, that they are going to play in the world.
This is personal for me because I listen to the community conversation about things like continuity. For me, the idea of continuity without including the notion that this is going to be an educated continuity, it means we're going to be raising a generation of ignoramuses.
This is personal for me because I see day school education as the foundation for Jewish life and for the world that we're in, the reason that we're here.
For me, it's personal because these are the kids that 20 years from now are going to be, or 30 years from now, are going to be running our communities.
This is really very personal for me because whatever we put into our kids, our students, is what they're going to put out when they're adults. And I truly believe that if we give them all the tools and all the background and all the love for Yiddishkeit and for Jewish learning and for who they are, then they will become active, participating citizens in our community. They will continue to be Jewish, and so that the chain continues to be unbroken.